Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So, whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today is Audree Blankenship. And I'm really excited to have Audree on the show today. And so, Audree, welcome to the podcast. And would you start by first telling us a little bit about yourself?
First off, I'd just like to thank you for allowing me to be on here.
Sure.
My name's Audree Blankenship. I'm 15 years old. I am a sophomore at Lakeland Junior Senior High School in LaGrange. I'm a twin.
Sister or brother?
I have a twin sister.
Okay. All right. Do you have any pets?
We have 2 dogs.
Okay. All right. You live with your parents, I assume?
Yes, I live with my mom and dad.
And then do you have any other siblings, or it's just the twins?
I have an older sister.
Okay. So your dad's got a house full of women.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's just how it goes. My dad had a house full of women too. I had 2 sisters, and he was a farmer, and he really would have liked to have had a son to take over the farm, but that just didn't happen. So, you do the next best thing. You turn your daughter into a race car lover, right?
Yep.
So how did you get interested in motorsports?
So my grandpa raced, and that's kind of how my dad got into it. And then, I just grew up at the racetrack. If my dad wasn't racing, we would still go and watch. And I guess I just, something fell into where I could race a go-kart, and it's just kind of progressed from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what are you racing now?
I race a sport compact or an outlaw front-wheel drive.
Okay. Yeah. And where do you race? Where's your home track, or do you travel?
Home track, we would say Angola Motorsports Speedway.
Okay.
But this season we plan on possibly traveling with the National Compact Touring Series.
Oh, that's good. Those are my buddies, Drew's one of my very best friends, so that's great. I'm glad to hear that. That series needs more women in it, so you go for it for sure. Now, does your sister like to race or not?
My sister's my biggest fan. She's not really into it, but she's the first person to ask, oh, how's the car feel and stuff like that. So she's involved without being involved.
Right. Because you can be involved in motorsports without being the driver.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great that she's your biggest fan for sure. So when you were in quarter midgets, did you really like that? Were there very many girls in it?
I never ran quarter midgets.
Oh, I thought that's what you said. Oh
no. I raced karts year of karts. This guy that works with my dad had an opportunity and was like, oh, Audree can drive this for the karting club, and it was cool. I enjoyed it, but it came up to after it, one season of it, my dad was like, do you want me to buy you a Hornet, or do you want me to buy you a nice go-kart? And I was like, well, why not? We can try a Hornet. And
yeah. And you've had success in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a good move, because that's going to be more of a long-term thing to race in, more so than the kart or the quarter midget. So that was a good decision, Audree. So what was your biggest challenge as far as learning? Let's just kind of talk about the Hornet or the Outlaw front wheel drive. Every track calls it something different. So we're going to call it the Hornet. Is that what they call it at Angola?
Hornet is what I drove first. The Outlaw, so like a Hornet is a stock version of a front-wheel drive.
Okay.
And then the Outlaw front-wheel drive and Sport Compact is like the more advanced.
I see.
Front-wheel
Because
drive
like
class.
Kalamazoo calls it something completely different, and Galesburg calls it something different, and M40 calls it something different.
Yeah.
So every track has their name for whatever. So, okay, so what you're running now, or even when you ran the Hornet, what was your biggest challenge, the thing you had the worst time learning how to do?
Honestly, like the hardest thing to this day is consistency, like running the exact same line every single lap. And besides that, like honestly, just earning the respect over other drivers, because like I'm a 15-year-old girl, it's kind of hard to, earn the respect.
Well, they look at you and they think, well, she can't even drive on the road yet. How can she race? That's what they think. And what they don't know is one has nothing to do with the other. Right? Yeah. So what's your favorite thing about being in motorsports and being a driver?
Honestly, like it's hard to explain, but like as soon as I did it, I was just like, this is what I want to do. It's just the best feeling in the world to like go out there on the track.
Is it adrenaline, excitement? It's a challenge. You like to do what? Explain it just a little more.
So I used to I played basketball and stuff like that, and I started racing, and that's when I quit school sports. It's just like I'm the only person that control what's happening. It's just my own thing that I can do with my dad and spend time with him. And the adrenaline rush is just the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, for sure. So what do your friends at school think about you driving a race car?
They think it's cool, but nobody really understands until they come and watch. Yep. You can explain it to them for hours and hours, but they're not going to understand until they actually come to the racetrack.
Yeah, you're right. I hear that over and over and over. And a lot of times I'll have a girl say, I don't even talk about it at school because they don't get it, and the boys make fun of her and the girls don't get it. And so a lot of times they don't even talk about it to their friends because it's just a wasted breath to try to explain it to them. They have to come and actually experience something at a racetrack. That's for sure. Yeah. So tell me about your car. What color is it? What is it like? Tell me the details.
So last year's car was this one right here.
The 91? 90, yes. 91.
It's 91. It was a red car with American flag theme on it, because my number one sponsor is Bill's Professional Towing and Repair, and their trucks have red, white, and blue, so we thought to incorporate it into the paint scheme. And it's just America,
right.
The flag.
Exactly.
So
yeah. And so is that the same car you're going to race, or you're going to have a different car?
Right now we're in the process of building a whole new front wheel drive.
Okay.
So it's going to be a process, and it's just me and my dad right now because things happen.
Yeah.
And so it might take some time, but at the end of the day, it's going to be something that my dad can say, I built that. And so it'll be special.
And it's only February. I mean, you do have a little bit of time, and it's snowing today. So we're still going to have snow for a while. So, you've got some time to get it ready and get it going for sure. Have you raced anywhere other than Angola? Do you have a track you really like, or maybe one that you really want to go to?
I raced Angola, Owasso, Springport. I put laps on New Paris, but we just had issues. I raced the Michigan Cup at Springport, and that track was a blast. If it wasn't 2 hours away, we would race there every weekend. And it was a big confidence booster going up for that, because our number one goal leaving the shop was let's make the A. And then we realized there was 109 cars, and we're racing with some of the fastest people like Matt Elsley, Will Slaughter, and them. And it was kind of this is a pretty good goal, but Yeah. And then they said they were taking 20, and I ended up 20th, and I was leading the field to green the next day.
That's
And
awesome. And
I
how
was
did you
just
finish?
I was competing all night, top 5, and there was like maybe 5, 6 laps to go, and the nerves kind of got to me and I made a couple mistakes and 2 people got around me, so I ended up 7th, but like it was a big confidence booster to think like we made the 8 and we even, got
Top
10,
10.
top 10.
Yeah. That's a huge accomplishment. So my granddaughter raced Michigan Cup, Madison Snyder. She races in the street stock
Street stock.
division. And Brock is her boyfriend, Brock Gannis. So you know all those guys. And when you say
Yeah.
Matt Elsie and Will Slaughter, I know who you're talking about. So we got a lot of names in common here, Audrey, for sure. So this year, so back to this, do you have a track that you haven't been to that you would like to race?
Honestly, like there's not a specific track that I'm like I really want to race there,
Okay.
but like, it's just there's a lot of tracks that I'd like to go to, and
Mm-hmm.
like, I just feel like it'd be cool to explore all the other
Yeah.
tracks and just
And really, so how far, LaGrange, how far are you from Angola?
30 minutes.
So are you north or south? What direction? You don't know. Okay. I just wondered because, really and we're lucky and I'll count you in my area because I always say within 2 hours of Kalamazoo, there's 6 or 8 tracks, if not more,
Yeah.
and we're so lucky. I live in Kalamazoo, so I can go to Kalamazoo Speedway or Galesburg and be there in less than a half an hour. And so I'm spoiled. And then when I talk to people that drive 2 hours or more every weekend to race,
Yeah.
I just think how dedicated they are to that. And so for you to go to Angola is about 30 minutes. So that's not a bad trip.
It's just like right now my parents are funding it all, so I don't want to ask for too much and be like,
Right.
let's go here, here, and here. But my dad's, finally gonna let like us travel and go to different tracks. So
well, and that's when you go to a couple sponsors and you say, hey, this is what I've already accomplished in Angola. I'd like to be able to go to Kalamazoo for a race. I'd like to be able to go because they do have some bigger races. Or, like you said, you want to run with the Midwest Compacts. They get a lot of exposure, and Drew does an amazing job promoting that series, and he's a he promotes the girls in that series, believe me, or he would hear about it from me. And I don't even have to say a word. He does it. And so, a couple sponsors that would help pay for travel, for you to go would be a huge benefit for you. And so, you may have to get in the car and have your dad take you a couple places and see what you can do, because it'd be awesome if you could run with them.
Yeah.
And they go to some really fun tracks for sure. So do you have marketing partners? I know you just mentioned somebody. Do you want to share anything about that, or are you still working on them?
So last year, like my sponsors were like Bill's Professional Towing and Repair, Builders Unlimited, Napa out of Angola, Sanderson Well Drilling, and like mainly just my mom and dad. Like, and then my aunt owns a cleaning business, Extreme Cleaning by Pam, and she helps a lot.
Yeah.
Next, or like this coming race season, we're not final. Like we still, we're still open to any marketing partners that are willing to.
Yeah. And another good thought for you, Audrey, is if you're going to run the compact series, look at their schedule. What towns are you going to? And then look and see what businesses are in those towns.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're coming to Kalamazoo, call Hardings or somebody that's in Kalamazoo and say, hey, I'm going to be running this series. We're going to race at Kalamazoo twice this year. Would you want to sponsor me for those 2 races? There's lots of options. So I think you're going to be just fine. You're going to figure it out for sure. Yeah. So you're 15. Do you think this is something you want to do for a long time?
I mean, like, obviously every racer's end goal would be NASCAR, but like my dad always says, there's nothing wrong with being a local legend.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
I
I
agree
mean,
with him.
I definitely like if I could do this for the rest of my life, like afford it on my own dime while I'm working, like that's obviously what I would like to do.
Yeah. And I like that you're practical about it and you're reasonably thinking about it because, yeah, everybody wants to get to the top, right? But what we know is that there are thousands of people that are racing. Let's say thousands of kids 18 and under that are racing. And every one of them probably wants to be the next NASCAR driver or the next World of Outlaws or whatever.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be cool if you in the Michigan, Indiana area became a driver that was very well known and when you showed up at the track they're like, "Uh-oh, that
Yeah.
Blankenship girl's here again. Look out."
Yeah.
That, that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I just feel like, right now when I go to different tracks, people don't look at me and be like, "Oh, she's a contender." Like me going to Michigan Cup, nobody would have thought that I was going to
Mhm.
make the A.
Yeah. Yeah. And you did. And so there's no reason you can't do that anywhere else that you go to.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. And the compacts have a good lineup of drivers every season. But the thing about that is you race them over and over. It's kind of like the Cup Series where you race the same people most of the time or a lot of the time. You kind of get to know their strengths and weaknesses, and it makes it easier for you to be successful. So, yeah, that's totally a good thing. Um, so when you get ready for the season, like right now, you're building the car, but let's say let's say you're going to drive the 91. We'll just say, what would you be doing this time of year if you weren't building a car? Do you help with the car? Do you work on the car in between races, or does your dad do most of that?
Um, so last like 2 years ago, we had another guy that would help us out. But right now it's just me and my dad. So my dad, he tries to teach me as much as I can learn. Like
Yeah.
just he kind of does it, but like is explaining it to me as we go on. And right now with us building a new car, like he wants to take the time to where I can also learn what I'm doing instead
Yeah.
of just I'll do it for you, go home.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're so much a better driver if you know how the car works.
Yeah.
And if you help put it together,
He
it's your
says I'll
baby.
respect it a little bit more.
It's your baby. And then you're going to want to really take good care of it and make sure that nobody destroys it or whatever for that. Yeah. So, what are you looking forward to the most in this upcoming season?
Honestly, like I obviously would like I've never won a feature, but my dad's it takes you don't earn a feature or you earn a feature it's not just given.
Yeah.
Um so obviously I'd like to, win a couple races, but I don't need to win a race to be a good driver. Like
Right.
I feel like I just want to, earn respect from everyone at the track, just compete
Yeah.
every place we go to, maybe that top 10, top 5, just consistently getting better as the season goes on.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good plan. And what you have to remember is that the one sport that you lose more than you win is racing. It's just a matter. It's a fact. Look at the NASCAR drivers. Their goal is to win at least one race so they make the playoffs. One out of 36 or 38, whatever it is. So, for you to just want to get better and better and be consistent is a wonderful goal and one that I know you can attain. And so that makes it more makes you work harder because you can get to that point. That's perfect. So what does it look like on race day? You get up, do you eat, do you not eat? You go to the track. What's your day look like on race day?
I mean, obviously, like I wake up. Sometimes I'll eat breakfast. It just depends. Um, I don't usually really get nervous until like I'm at the track and I'm strapped in and like I'm in the chute. That's when like I really get nervous. But as soon as I drive onto the track, it's like no cares in the world. Just do what I do, and
Hmm.
that's about it.
Do you like the inside or the outside?
The outside's usually faster.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. That's something that is a learned behavior though too, because
Yeah.
a lot of times it just depends on the actual race, but that's interesting. Do you have any like special music you listen to on race day, or you're just pretty relaxed?
My dad always tries to get me to listen to like loud, crazy music to get me pumped up, but like honestly, all the time I just listen to like country and
Yeah.
it just like gets me like locked in, ready to like,
Well, your dad's probably more of a I don't know how old he is, but a Metallica fan or something, and you're more of a Jelly Roll fan.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with
I'd
you.
rather just like sit down, listen to the music and just like relax.
Yeah. Sometimes that loud, crazy music makes you more tense, I think. It makes you
Yeah.
like, ah. And so I like the kind that is kind of, meaningful and a little bit less crazy for sure. Yeah. Do you have any pre race like superstitions or routines? Like I always wear the same shirt, the same socks. I always put my hair in the same hair bow, whatever.
Not really.
No?
Like I'm not very superstitious or
Okay.
anything. Um, I feel like whatever happens. Like it will happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
So
just not that.
did I might have asked you this, and if I did, I apologize. What's your favorite part of being involved in motorsports? And it could be on the track or off the track. Did I ask you that already?
I don't think so.
Okay, I don't think
Oh,
so either. So,
my favorite thing, like obviously as a driver, is just like showing like little girls and like not even just girls, just like little kids in general that like you can do, like if you want to race, do it. And it's just like the best feeling ever when you go for autograph night and like all the little girls come up and it's like, oh my gosh, like just seeing the children cheer for, like me is just like
yeah.
crazy because I used to be in that stands and just watch and cheer for them. So it's
Hmm.
like the roles reversed.
Yeah. Well, it's the generations are rolling over, you know. Are there very many girls that race at Angola?
Ashley Chalfant, she's usually like the only girl, but she
Yeah.
kind of travels. So
Yeah. I recognize her name for
yeah.
sure.
Besides her, like in my class, I there isn't
No.
really any girls at Angola.
Okay. We'll have to work on that. Get those women down there to get some more girls out there racing. So, I know you haven't been in racing a lot of years, but racing, being involved in motorsports tends to change us. Maybe could be a lot of different ways. Do you feel like because of what you've learned by being in motorsports or anything, has it helped you or changed you in any way?
I mean, like my dad treats racing like a school sport. If I don't have good grades and I'm like disrespectful at home, then I can't do it. And so it kind of just like inspires me that like I need to be a good kid, be respectful to my parents, turn in my work at school because I like it sucks when you can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
The worst part would be he'd make you go and watch and you
yeah.
can't race. That would
And you
really
got to
be bad.
explain to everyone why you're not racing.
Yeah. And who wants to do that? No way. No. Yeah. So that's a good thing. Good for you. Good for your parents. That's a good thing for sure. So you have all these little kids that come and kind of they look up to you. Is there any certain ones that you've kind of been a role model to, or I don't know, like in Kalamazoo we have the little quarter midget track, so we have a lot of kids who start there who move up into Kalamazoo. Do you have any little kids that especially look up to you that you can name or about?
I mean, like, I don't really know like a
Yeah,
specific person that I'd be like they look up to me for it.
yeah,
But my sister had a baby and he's like 1 years old, and like even when he was like in my sister's stomach, like he would when they would cheer, like he would go all crazy. And like I just hope like I can show him that like you can do it. Just like no, don't
yeah.
give up. you know?
Yeah. That's fun, and that gives you somebody to kind of mentor and as he grows up, and
Yeah.
he's going to fall in love with racing because it's in his blood already. So he just needs you to be the one to kind of mentor him for sure. Yeah. So has anybody first of all, I've heard you say a lot of things about your dad, which let's give kudos to your dad, and I'm sure your mom too, but
Yeah.
your dad sounds like he's given you a lot of good advice. Is there any one thing that kind of sticks with you that your dad has told you?
Um, so one thing he always tells me is like do it for yourself, or like um
Hmm.
just like believe in myself like he believes in me, you know?
Yeah.
And then the last thing is like do it for yourself. You know, it's
Okay.
just like I don't need to care what anybody else thinks. Like I need to do this because I want to do it, and just
Yeah.
like having self-confidence in something where there's not a lot of girls doing. Like I haven't done it for very long. It's just something that you have to learn.
Yeah.
And I haven't really like I don't really struggle with like when I show up to the racetrack, like there's no doubt in my mind that I can't compete with the guys. And
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. So you have confidence in yourself, and that sometimes that's one of the things that's a big challenge for girls to overcome because you know they can be not treated well at the track, and it's not even always other kids, it's parents, or in your
mhm,
case it would be older men who don't think girls should be racing, and they're part of that old school thinking. And so it's good that you have confidence in yourself, and that's going to get you a long way, not only in racing but in life
in
as well.
life.
Yeah. So what's your favorite memory so far?
Um, my favorite memory, like in general, is just like when you get out of that cart, you're like my dad's always gonna pick something out that I did wrong. But like just when you get out and he comes up, it's just like when he tells you good job and stuff like that, like it's just like a good time.
Yeah.
And I just my favorite memory in general would probably be like when I won Rookie of the Year and third in points over at Montville. It was just like the memories of I could literally hear like my family cheering
Mhm.
like while I'm on the track because they
Yeah.
were so loud, and like I was starting to get recognized at the track, like
Mhm.
just stuff like that, just the memories of just you know
Yeah. It's when you can hear those people in the stands cheering, it just makes you drive a level up because you know that they're out there cheering for you, and you want to do even better than you already wanted to do for sure. So, Audrey, do you use social media to promote your racing? And if so, what do you use and how do you use it?
um so right now we just made a Facebook page towards the end of the season last year. It's called Audree Blankenship Racing.
Okay.
um And then, like, we kind of just support it on our personal, like, I have TikTok and stuff like that, and I'll
Okay.
post, like, videos of the car and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Um, we'd like to, start doing more of the, promoting me and the car and, like, just what I'm doing, but
Yeah.
it's just something,
Well, it takes a lot of time to do everything, and you're still in school, and I'm
yeah.
assuming your parents work, so it makes it hard for sure. But that's one thing that I really would encourage you to put put kind of near the front of things to do after the car's built, because that can really get you noticed, and especially if you're going to be in the compact series. And then that also would help you maybe get some new sponsors. So that's always a good thing, but it's all about time, and you've got to keep those grades up. So summer will be here soon though, and hopefully you can get some more get some more going on the social media for sure. um, is there anything that I haven't asked you about or we haven't talked about that you want to share about Audrey or about your racing or anything at all?
I don't know, like, honestly, my biggest thing that, like, I would tell anyone is just, like, you have to set reasonable goals. and like you can't take like do not let what other people say affect like you or what you're like what you believe you can do, because at the end of the day, like you're the only person that can control what you're doing, and you have to be able to like show up at the racetrack every time you go and with that same confidence of I can go out and do this.
Yeah, for sure. So is your new car going to be number 91 as well?
Yes, so 91 my grandpa had it and then my dad had it. And
Okay.
you know, my dad's given me the opportunity to change the number, but like it's in the family, why should I change it?
Right. Right. I like that. And do you know what the color scheme's going to be?
The car is going to be white. The
Okay.
body is going to be white, and we want to do like here, like this color of
Oh, yeah.
red, um, with
Very
some like
pretty red.
gold and stuff in it. You know, just
Yeah. That way you're shiny under the lights.
mhm.
Yeah, that's cool for sure. I love it. So, Audrey, thank you for being on the podcast. I really enjoyed talking to you. And I love when I can talk to somebody that, is what I call a local racer, somebody that races against people that I know. And that, perhaps sometime if you're headed to Kalamazoo or Galesburg, you'll have to let me know, because those are tracks that I can get to fairly quickly. My granddaughter's not going to race this year. She's um, out, she's in college, she's working, and she is getting a house. And so there's only so many hours in the day, just like you, and there's only so much money in the bank. And so she and Brock are focusing on a house, which is great. She'll be at the track with Brock, I know, cheering him on. So, but stay in touch and let me know kind of where you're going to be. If you tag Women's Motorsports Network when you post things, then it's
Mhm.
easier for me to keep up with you and see
Mhm.
what you're doing. So make sure you do that. And then anytime when you win that first race or anything at all that you want to share, make sure you reach out to me and let me know. Okay.
Yeah. I do think the National Compact Touring Series goes to, I know for sure M40.
Yeah.
So
They come to Kalamazoo usually too.
yeah.
So if I know for sure you're going to run that series, then I'll have their schedule and I'll be able to find you if
Yeah.
for sure. So
I'll let you know. I
okay.
can like tag you in the racing page or whatever,
Yeah,
um, when we
that'd be
get a
great.
schedule.
Okay. Well, you work hard on school and getting that car built, and I appreciate your dad, Audrey, for taking the time, and your mom too, for doing all the things they do to help you race, because that's what it takes. Without our families, we couldn't do it. So yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind the scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.